What are the qualities of a powerful communicator?
Well, first of all, communication is not intended to be powerful. Communication is intended to be able to communicate, to impact the listener.
And what are the elements of good, effective communication?
Well, effective communication means that you have to affect the listener with a content. So, a communicator must have a content. Generally, communication is very important for trainers. So, you have a trainer and you have a listener. The profile of the listener is that the listener must consider that it is a great opportunity to be able to listen to the trainer. And the listener must understand that it is a precious content the trainer is communicating. So, if there is no preciousness for the content in the mind of the listener, and if the listener do not think it is an opportunity, then the interest will be compromised in the listener. So, trainer has to ensure that the content is precious and the listener understands that it's a great opportunity to be listening to the trainer, and that the listener is interested in the content. The trainer must have domain expertise of the content. And some questions the trainer must ask is, why am I saying this? Why am I delivering this content? Is it to appear intelligent? Is it to subjugate the listener? Is it to get a resource from the listener? So there are multiple reasons why a trainer is speaking what he is speaking. Ideally, it should be about the listener and not about the trainer. The communicative interaction between a trainer and a listener, in that the dominant space must be that of the listener or the participant and not as much as of the trainer in the mind of the trainer. Then the communication happens.
So, for communication to be effective, uh, you mentioned the listener has to fulfill certain criteria, has to have certain requirements. Uh, so, does that mean effective communication is not possible just with everybody, but you need the right audience or the right listener to be effective for the communication to be effective?
Yeah, communication happens when there is a need to do it. For example, you must have told somebody that when you exit, please shut the door. And in spite of telling it many times, you may not get the desired result from the person who is exiting. So you have to ponder why that listener has not been impacted by your suggestion. So the question is, why are you telling him to shut the door as he leaves? So maybe the reason is that you want to arrest thefts, or you want not anybody else to walk in. Whatever be the reason, the point is that you have visibility of something and the listener is blind to something. The purpose of communication is to remove blindness in the listener so that the listener can see something which is visible to you. That is why you are a trainer. So the listener assumes that the trainer has seen something and the listener is currently blind to that what the trainer has seen. And that is the purpose of a trainer and a listener relationship. So the objective of the trainer is to eliminate the blindness in the listener about that content that you have that you want to tell the listener. So you have to devise multiple communication methods to be able to eliminate the blindness in the listener. In this case, about why should the listener or anybody shut the door after they exit.
So, what is the importance of innovation in a training?
Well, innovation is a methodology by which you approach the curriculum. So, first as a trainer, you must create a syllabus and a curriculum for a specific communication, for a specific topic, for a specific context. And innovative approach is essential so that you can impact the listener. For example, maybe multiple number of times you have suggested to somebody that after you have a cup of coffee, please keep the mug in the sink, and repeatedly they leave it on the table. Then you may want to ponder, why are they doing that? After 5 times of informing them that please arrange to keep this mug after cup of tea in the sink, they still go back to their habit. So why are they not able to change the habit? Now you need innovation. Now you need innovation to approach this to the person, because the person's IQ is not good enough. So you need to first work on his IQ, and that needs innovative approach to increase the level of IQ in the listener, so that then you can give the suggestion. And then when you give the suggestion to a impacted IQ level, higher intelligence level of the person, then the communication happens. Sometimes I have had this experience, or you may have had the experience too, that you put the charger of the phone into the plug, and after 2 hours you check the phone and the charge has not entered. Have you had some experience like this? Because there was a loose connection somewhere. That means the charge is on, but the desired result is not achieved. The phone is not charged. So many times trainer is charged, trainer is speaking, and the listener is there, the listener is hearing, but the listener is not listening. So for this multiple number of times, this trainer has to assess the impact of his talking on the listener. Maybe every half an hour he may give a pointed question, or every 1 hour he may suggest a feedback. So he must innovate a kind of questions by which he can elicit the response to study the impact of what he is speaking on the listener. So taking feedback is very important. And the listener's interest will be captured to the trainer only when there is enough examples. You should be innovatively creating examples which is different from metaphor, which is different from analogy, which is different from a corroborative evidence to what you're speaking as a content. So if you want the listener to be impacted, there should be anecdotes which may be sprinkled with a little entertaining humor, so that the interest of the listener is captured, so that the trainer can impact the listener. So good amount of examples to corroborate to what you're saying is essential to the listener. Only then the communication happens.
What should be the level of discipline in a training, according to you?
Anything in the world must have some discipline. See, many times you ask people to be disciplined and they just cannot be. See, have you had this experience that when you're 4-year-old, when you're 4-month-old, when you were hungry, how did you express your hunger? How did you express that you are hungry? How? You cried. You cried at 4-month-old and you were hungry, you expressed your hunger by crying. Now when you're hungry, how do you express that you're hungry? You tell somebody, I am hungry. You do not cry anymore. So why don't you cry anymore? Why do you say that I am hungry? It's because you got vocabulary, you got words. So as a trainer, you must encourage yourself to learn more and more vocabulary, so that you can express things very well. And many listeners, they do not know how to express their doubts to you, because they also have shortage of words. Many times they are not able to understand what is the emotion that they experience. They do not know how to categorize their emotion, how to articulate it, how to define it, how to label that experience that they have. They do not know. So as a trainer, you must have compassion and patience to understand what is the listener going through as you speak to them, because they are not equipped with the words to express to you that what they are going through. So discipline, many people does not know why they should be disciplined, and if they are indisciplined, their expression of indiscipline is in effect they are attempting to tell you something else. They are attempting to tell you that they have some resistance to what you're saying. They have some inhibitions to learn. Therefore, you have to articulate their resistance in them, their inhibitions to learn, and make them good learners. You must innovate a technique by which you can read where is their protest to what you're saying, where is their rebelliousness in their mind. It could be in their intellectual habit of protesting anything and everything, or resisting anything and everything, and they're victims of their own habits. So if they are armed with a habit which they do not know themselves that they are armed with a habit of resisting learning, then it's up to the trainer to neutralize their resistance of learning in them, and then communication happens. Therefore, the trainer must have compassion, must have patience, and must have immense learning of vocabulary to articulate the sentiments and the sensitivities that the trainer moves through and the learners are victims of.
Now, in the training mechanism that you explained, that everything is for the listener. Is there something that trainer gets? Is there something that trainer also gets back? Because it requires tremendous amount of expertise, patience, knowledge, and willingness to give.
Yes, as a trainer, you must have domain expertise, and you must ask yourself, why am I saying what I'm saying, and how am I saying what I'm saying? Is my content enriched with examples and corroborative evidence? And also the willingness to profile the listener, their level of intelligence and their readiness to learn. Now, you can categorize your learners into 4 categories. There is one type of category of learners who are very equipped for being compared with other people. They like challenges, they have a little combativeness, and they are very competitive. So, give them exams and they will learn for the exams, because they like to know that they have defeated somebody else. They like the challenge within themselves of having to achieve, having to accomplish. These people will do well when examined in an exam. There are other kind of people, learners, who do not like to be competitive. They do not want to be compared, and they do not like to take challenges head on. But they are very good at functionality and their capabilities. For example, if you tell them that I want to remove hunger in a person, then they register that the objective is to remove hunger in a person. So, to that effect, they will make good food. But if you put them on a table and chair and write down what kind of food you will give, write down the recipe before you start, and you want to compare with somebody else whether your recipe is better than the other people's recipe, you will disengage that kind of learner. So, that kind of learner does not like competition, does not want to be compared, it does not like to take challenges, and it is not combative, but he is focused on the functionality, and he will operationalize his capability. This is the second type of listener, at his own pace, by the way. And third type of listener is a listener who just likes to take instruction. They don't want to compete with anybody. They are not focused on functionality and capabilities of their selves, but they like to take your instruction. They are telling you direct, I do. This is the third type of learners. And the fourth type of learners rely only on customized information, individualized education. They want attention from the trainer, or they want a little praise. You call their name in a classroom, they feel very happy, they will learn. So, there are 4 types of communication you have to factor into your communication program, that each content is having 4 approaches. One approach is through giving examination challenges, other approach is through giving activity and project for functionality and capability people, third is to give instruction with reference to discipline, and fourth is to give lot of praise, recognition, certificates. And if 4 of them are incorporated into your training program, you have touched all the sentiments of all listeners, and communication happens. And then you must take feedback, you must assess the feedback, and you will have achieved great results as a trainer.